everyone. Come on in because we are here for Married to Medicine Season 10. And this is episode 5, and it's called Resurrection or Rejection. My name's Deborah. And we're going to be doing a recap review of the episode. And I know this episode was all about Quad coming out of a casket and crazy Phaedra with how she coops up these ideas. Remember back in the day when Phaedra had that birthday party for her little boy and they came in like Coming to America? Phaedra loves a production. She loves a production. But I'm going to tell you this, what my two favorite moments were of the whole episode, where I really thought about, this is kind of what I want to see on this show. Yeah, it was good to see the resurrection of the casket. It was funny. We got some good laughs. Ha ha, he he he. We got to see that, hey, Quad is just here for a check. Quad is here for a check. These ladies are trying to get Quad to be friends with them and saying, why don't you respect us as friends? And Quad don't care none about that. All Quad is here is for a check. She don't consider none of these ladies her real friends. These are her co-workers, her colleagues, and she's not trying to have no extra conversation with them besides coming to pick up her check. But I'm going to tell you the most two interesting moments of this whole show for me was the conversation that Simone had with her husband, Cecil. Because I'm going to tell you, Cecil's passive aggressive. We're going to get into that. And the other one that got swept under the rug was when Sweet Tea revealed and said to Dr. Heavenly, maybe you ought to talk about when you said you was going to go up against the head of a Dr. Damon. A Dr. Damon. And then what did Heavenly do? Heavenly got mad, told her, I should whoop your ass, just like your mommy should have done. But you know what she never did? She never did deny it. She never did deny it. It was a real small moment where Sweet Tea revealed little information about Dr. Heavenly, and Dr. Heavenly shut that down real quick. Because as we know, we don't never really get to see nothing about Dr. Heavenly's family. Nothing at all. But anyway, let's go into this episode and we're going to get to all that. Because the first episode started off with Dr. Jackie. See, one of the only reasons I started watching this Married to Medicine again was actually for some real storylines with Sweet Tea. Maybe something coming out of Phaedra. Because I really was tired of the same old with certain people on the show. And one of them is Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie of Married to Medicine is like Candy with Real Housewives of Atlanta. Really, they know how to work the system. All they do on these reality TV shows is really promote their other businesses. And they do a good job at it. They make themselves a lot of money. They really build a nice set of businesses. I get it. I understand it. But as a viewer, after a while, I'm tired of seeing, that's why I don't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta no more. I get tired of seeing Candy and her businesses, okay? Because I want to see other things revolving around real life. And with Dr. Jackie, honestly, I'm tired of going to the doctor's office with her, seeing her patients. That's her storyline. So here we are. We start off with Dr. Jackie. They show some part offs with her in the examination room with the brat. Okay, yeah. She gives us some good information, talking about how black women die, 10 times more, whatever the multiple is than other women. Got it. All good information, all very good information that needs to be disseminated. But I'm not here for no public service announcement. I'm here for reality TV. And I'm telling you, for me, Dr. Jackie is just boring. When we start talking about revamps, when all these reality shows are going through revamps, they can revamp Married to Medicine. And I'm telling you, I'm good with Dr. Jackie moving on. I'm really good with it. And if I want some information about the mortality rate of black women in pregnancy, I'll just go look it up on Google. I don't need it on a reality TV show. I just don't. And I don't need 10 years of it. It's been 10 years, y'all. 10 years. Give me a storyline, Dr. Jackie. Give me something else. And it's not that I don't like Dr. Jackie. I think she's a wonderful person. I think she's smart. I think she's brilliant. I think she's a good doctor. I think she cares for her patients. I think she's diligent. I think she's attentive. I think all of that. But that's not what I want to see when I'm coming here watching this reality TV show. It really isn't. I thought they were going to talk more about Phaedra. Phaedra came in on this show going over going over to the house of Quad. Phaedra talking about, I'm sorry I'm late. And then Quad's like, you only live 10 minutes away. Phaedra's like, oh yeah, it was traffic. You know, Phaedra know how to lie. Phaedra knows how to lie real well. Of all the people on the show, I'm thinking Phaedra might be one of the best liars. Then they proceed to all get together. Quad, Heavenly came over. They complimented Heavenly on her little lace outfit. And they continue to start talking about a Sweet Tea's wedding. I didn't like it. I don't like this little thing where these women are going to, gang up on Sweet Tea. I'm not liking the road that Quad is going down. First of all, Quad and Dr. G have been divorced now for over 5 years. Over 5 years. And 3 years before then, they were in a sexless marriage. So it really wasn't a marriage. So we're actually talking about 8 years since Quad even had sexual relations with Dr. G. She should care less who Dr. G married. She shouldn't be saying nothing nasty about Sweet Tea, because Sweet Tea had nothing to do with your marriage. Sweet Tea was not around when you were around. There should be no animosity, nothing for Sweet Tea, and you really shouldn't have no nasty words to say about Sweet Tea, Quad. Not at all. And now I'm going to give her and now what I really hope is, I hope Quad don't spend the rest of this season saying nasty things about who Sweet Tea is, about her house, about her wedding, about none of it. Because Sweet Tea don't deserve none of it, because she didn't have nothing to do with the marriage of Quad and Dr. G. So since Sweet Tea didn't have nothing to do with Quad's marriage, Quad needs to not have anything to do with Sweet Tea's marriage. I understand that Quad here is to get a check. I get that. I can read Quad. I know what she's here to do. She's here to get a check. And I understand that maybe in between, she may have to say a few little things to keep it kind of interesting, to act like she really don't like Sweet Tea. But I'm telling you, she better walk a thin line. She better walk a real fine line, because if she ventures too far over to being real mean to Sweet Tea, she's gonna look like the bitter, jealous ex-wife. If she ventures too far over, even though I know she's not bitter, even though I know she's not jealous, but if she sticks too long with putting down Sweet Tea or anything that she does, pretty soon it's gonna make Quad look bad. So I hope she don't spend all season doing that. I really, really do. Then Heavenly's over here trying to hold Quad's feet to the fire, talking about, you kind of stepped away from the group for 4 or 5 years. They start talking about, well, I miss the group misses you. But don't nobody miss Quad. They didn't really miss Quad, because you can see going forward that no one actually had a real friendship with Quad. Quad wasn't even friends with these people. She really wasn't. They were colleagues. They were co-workers. And that's what actually made the ladies upset, because what they felt was that Quad looked down on them. Quad didn't value them, right? And as a result, they really all never really got along. But to me, it got interesting when they had that sit down, when Simone had to sit down with her husband, Cecil. And Simone is over here. You can tell their marriage counseling ain't working. It ain't working. It ain't working because Simone barely can stand Cecil. Maybe one of the reasons why Simone wants these kids out the house so fast is so that she can get them out, so then maybe she could end this marriage, because Simone ain't happy. Simone sat there and said, hey, let's do this vision board. Let's do this collage. Let's go back to happier times. Maybe if we pull out pictures from 20 years ago, it'll make us remember them good times from 20 years ago. And then she said, then maybe we won't be so mad at each other now in 2023. She said, let's look at pictures from 20 years ago, and maybe looking at these pictures will make us forget how we so unhappy right now in 2023. It ain't gonna work, Simone. It ain't gonna work. Because soon after they start going down memory lane, she says, well, I do want to talk about something. I do want to come back to the present. I know we're back here in La La Land 20 years ago when we was on the Carnival cruise and the kids were all young and cute and everything. But here we are now dealing with 25, 24-year-old men living at the house. I'm sick of you, Cecil. And so I do want to talk about what's going on here right now, right here today in 2023 with these boys. And first of all, Simone, they're not boys no more. They grown as men, especially Miles. Now, there's a case to be said that Michael, because he's still in college, or he's still only 1 or 2 years out of college, so he's maybe only 19 or 20 years old. But Miles, he a full grown old man. shoot, anymore. Shoot, he's 24, 25 years old. He's old enough he can collect disability. Simone said, come on, Cecil, let's talk, because what I'm hoping, Cecil, is that we can get on the same page. And Cecil looked at her and was like, I don't think so. Because let me tell you something. Simone, are you listening to me? The reason why Cecil don't want to get on the same page with you regarding your boys is because Cecil is vicariously living through his boys. Hear what I'm saying? When Cecil is taking up for his boys, when Cecil is standing up to you for the boys, and what Cecil is doing is not having you dictate what the boys should do, and Cecil is standing up to you for the boys, what Cecil is doing is, I was the boys. That's how my marriage has been with you, where you ran over me, where you told me I was moving too slow, where you told me I need to pay more of the bills, and I didn't have more money to pay some of the bills. All these things, Simone, that you're now requiring of these boys to grow up, be a man, carry more of the, pay their bills, be more of the financial, all this other kind of stuff you want these boys to be. Cecil is saying, that was me. I've heard all this before, Simone, and before you were saying it to me. And what I'm not going to do now, Simone, is let you make our boys feel just as bad as you made me feel. Simone, Cecil ain't fighting for these boys. Cecil is fighting for himself. Cecil is fighting to have the voice he has felt he hasn't had in the marriage a long time, because you, Simone, have held all the power. Not only did you hold the power when you were a doctor before this Married to Medicine, right? Because you held the power then too. You still made the majority of the money back then because you were the doctor and Cecil was still underemployed. He was never unemployed, but he was what's called underemployed. And then you went on and became on this show, this hot TV show, Married to Medicine, and you started giving an even bigger check. Most likely your check from Married to Medicine is even bigger than your doctor's check, which now means you making double the amount of money and you kept making more and more money. And Cecil, what did Cecil do along the way? He actually started making less and less money. When Cecil first, they came on the show 10 years ago, Cecil was like some computer programmer or something in tech industry. And lo and behold, over 10 years, Simone has made more and more money. And what Cecil has done is he's made less and less and less money. Do you know how many arguments these two have had? Probably over money in the household, how to spend it, where to spend it. Cecil, when you going to get a job and make a little bit more money so you can carry a little bit more of the load. And now here they are having the same fights, the same conversations about carrying the load as a man, but this time it's against Simone and her boys, and Cecil is standing up to Simone passive aggressively, and he says he's fighting for the boys, but who he's really fighting for is himself, because he has felt like these boys have felt. Even when she started talking about, well, we're going to buy the house, a house for the boys. So it sounds like what Simone is saying is, I want to buy a house for them. So yeah, they can move out of here and they can move into the house that we provide for them. They got money, they got generational wealth, they can buy the house. And so what Simone is saying, when we move into that house, I'm gonna want them to pay rent. She never said how much rent. She didn't say that she wanted them to pay the whole mortgage. But she says, I do want them to have a monthly obligation to pay something, and I agree. Does it mean that if the mortgage is $3,000, you're gonna make them pay $3,000 a month? No. But you do want to get them in the practice of you know what? Paying something, not living rent free. Cecil don't even want that. Cecil said, well, if they ain't ready to pay nothing a year, so what? What's the big deal? I don't agree either, Simone. I really don't agree. And I don't know why Cecil's not even trying to compromise. I do know why he's not trying to compromise. Let me stop lying. He doesn't want to compromise because he feels like he's compromised so much between the you and him. Now, Simone says, for once, I would like Cecil to be on my page. Well, Simone, I bet Cecil has been on your page for a lot of the times. You want me to believe that you making all this money in this relationship, but yet you haven't had no power in it? Simone is over here acting like Cecil is never on her agenda. Never on her agenda. She's always got to get on his agenda. So you want me to believe that Simone, You making doctor's money. You making married to medicine money. But you're telling me you've always had to be on Cecil's agenda? I don't believe it. Cecil don't want these boys moving out because Cecil won't have nobody to torture Simone with. Cecil said, I'm going to torture Simone with these boys. I'm going to make these boys be another version of myself. And then I'm going to fight for them like I couldn't fight for myself. Whatever type of marriage counseling they're going to, it ain't working. It ain't working. Simone thinks everything's going to change with her boys once Miles graduates from college. It ain't going to change because even when he graduates from college, he's not going to have no good paying job. He already told you he wants to be now in the film industry major. He going to come out of college not making no damn money. What difference does it make? So yeah, you can start paying for some college courses, but you all of a sudden think he's going to go get a job where he's going to be able to afford some $3,000 mortgage? No. Which means they're going to still be calling them boys. They're going to be grown men, right? And Simone's still going to want to be controlling their lives. And Cecil's still going to be talking to the boys saying, do whatever you want. Don't worry about your mother. Take your time. Because I got browbeat by your mother for 20-something years as long as we've been married. And I want y'all to be different from me. I don't want you to bow down to what she's doing. So Cecil encourages his boys to be like they are. Because in a lot of ways, it allows Cecil to play out what he wanted to do. There is really a disservice to these boys. These boys are caught in the middle between a fight between Simone and Cecil. And the fight between Simone and Cecil have nothing to do with the boys. It has to do with their own marital relationship and dynamics. But yet the boys are being used as the pawn. When the real fight, the real struggle, the real power struggle is between Cecil and Simone. But they didn't really want to talk about all that too much, but I wanted to talk about it. They still want to make this episode about this funeral or the Phoenix Rising. Phaedra running around sending invitations with her butler, her male butler. Why Phaedra got a male butler? I think Phaedra got a male butler because she wants some male energy around her boys in the house. There's a lot of people doing that nowadays. A lot of single moms with boys are, instead of choosing nannies, female nannies, they're choosing male butlers because what they're saying is, I don't want my boys to grow up in a house with all female energy. My female energy as the boss, and then a nanny's female energy. And they're trying to introduce more male energy into the house when they don't have a husband or a boyfriend. And the way they're choosing to introduce this male energy into the house is with a male butler. A straight one, though. That's how they're trying to do it. But Phaedra didn't invite Sweet Tea to the resurrection. I don't know why. Maybe because she didn't want no mess between her and Quad. And maybe because she didn't run it by Dr. G yet. Remember Dr. G said, don't be inviting my wife to nothing where Quad is going to be unless you run it by me. So I guess Phaedra said, well, let me leave her off the guest list because I ain't going to get no trouble with Dr. G over this. But, Toya said, let me invite you anyway. So it's so interesting that Toya was mad that Phaedra brought Quad to the bridal shower uninvited. But now that Phaedra is having a Phoenix Rising, and she didn't invite Sweet Tea, who was the person who told Sweet Tea to come anyway? Toya. So Toya said, you ought to come anyway. And what's going to happen when they turn you out at the door? What you going to do, Sweet Tea? It's almost like they're trying to rile up Sweet Tea so Sweet Tea can act out and act a fool and do whatever. They trying to set up Sweet Tea. Here go Toya trying to say, what you going to do when they turn you away from the door? You going to get loud? You going to get ratchet? Because we need something for this season. We need some action. And all of us ain't got no storylines. So we going to need you, Sweet Tea, to have all the storylines. Sweet Tea didn't take the bait. Good for you, Sweet Tea. Don't take the bait. Even Dr. Simone was trying to get up in Sweet Tea's business, talking about why you didn't have sex with your husband on your honeymoon for 3 days. What happened? Tell me what's going on. And she said, girl, I was just on my period, my cycle. I guess these women don't remember that. Maybe it's too far ago since the last time they all had a cycle. Maybe Simone don't remember it. Sweet Tea, no, it was just I had a cycle. I tell you, they trying to make trouble with Sweet Tea when there ain't none. They poking, they prodding, they do everything to get information out of Sweet Tea for her to spill her business so they can have something to talk about in this season. Because none of them want to talk about what's going on in their lives. Not a one of them. But when Quad came out that casket talking about let's bury the pettiness, the phoenix is rising, I'm not dead, and all this other kind of stuff, I was like, okay, this is really, really over the top. But all right, I'll laugh at it. I'll chuckle at it. And then she went around one by one talking about let's bury the hatchet. Let's start anew. I'm going to give it the old college try. She knew that Toya wasn't going to budge. She knew that she wasn't going to budge. And when she popped out that casket, when Quad popped out that casket, you had Toya say, who's going to pop out next? Mariah? I wish Mariah would. Toya, please don't make us start thinking about it. I wish Mariah would pop out that casket and bring her back too. Then yes, we'd have an even better season. But I tell you, Miss Phaedra, when she was giving her speech talking about we got the doctor for the teeth, Dr. Heavenly, we got the vaginas for the doctors with the vaginas. And then she looked over at Toya and said, we got the tennis expert. Woo, that was shady. Shady, shady, shady. But when Dr. Heavenly was talking to Sweet Tea, talking about why are you mad at me and all this other kind of stuff, and when she started trying to deny that she said all that stuff about Sweet Tea, about they shouldn't be married, and she was trying to clean it up, and she started getting a little nasty with Sweet Tea, and Sweet Tea started telling her, maybe you need to start talking about when you told me you went upside your husband's head with a frying pan. Woo! Heavenly looked at her. Heavenly looked at her and said, no, that didn't come out your mouth. No, that secret didn't come out your mouth, because we know Sweet Tea and Heavenly been talking on the sideline. They had tried to build up a little friendship, and now it's done gone bad. And shoot, they must have been taking shots together at one time or another, because let me tell you, Sweet Tea just spilled a little business of Heavenly, and Heavenly didn't like it one bit. And what did Heavenly immediately do? She did not say you lying. She immediately went to say, don't make me whoop your ass like your mama should have done. Basically, don't make me shut your mouth like your mama should have shut your mouth when you used to pop off. That's what Heavenly was saying. Girl, don't try me. Don't try me. Then she started going off. Then Heavenly started going off what she normally does. You marrying a man 5 times younger than you. You marrying your daddy. You marrying your daddy. Sweet Tea got a daddy. Sweet Tea got a daddy. He walked her down the aisle, and he seems like a very present father. So no, Sweet Tea ain't marrying Dr. G because she's looking for a daddy. That's just a way to get at Sweet Tea. That is just a way to get at Sweet Tea. Because that's all Heavenly got for her, is that she married an older man. That's all Heavenly got. Heavenly earlier was talking about Sweet Tea don't even belong in the group. Why not? Why doesn't Sweet Tea belong in the group? Because it's the same thing they tried to do to Toya years ago. That just because Toya wasn't a doctor, just because Sweet Tea isn't a doctor, they don't belong in the circle. Because what? The circle should only be about women doctors. It's called Married to Medicine. So they married to it. They married to it. Sometimes these doctors, I feel like, are Married to Medicine. They was jealous of Toya. And now I'm starting to see they might be jealous of Sweet Tea too. Because what Sweet Tea and Toya did was they married doctors. They didn't have to go to no medical school for no 12 years and have $250,000 worth of student loan debt that they had to pay off. All they did was show up and get married to a doctor, and now they have the same lifestyle as you doctors. Now they're sitting on this show just like you. Toya on this show just like Dr. Heavenly. Toya's on this show just like Dr. Jackie, and her check is just as big. So what? She might have married a doctor, right, Eugene, but guess what? She making us just as much money now as the other ladies, and she probably making more money than Eugene. More than likely, her check for Married to Medicine is more than Dr. Eugene's check. But Dr. Heavenly can say all she wants about she married an older man and call her a gold digger or a copper digger. But let me tell you something. If Sweet Tea keeps keeping on this show and she keeps having some interesting things to talk about, she going to end up getting a big check too. And eventually she going to be making more than Dr. G too. She going to be making more than Dr. G. Then what they going to call her? So what if she ain't no doctor? But Phaedra said she was disappointed in Quad. Quad didn't know how to humble herself. Quad didn't know how to fall on her knees and ask everybody for forgiveness. Quad says, I don't need no forgiveness to get no check. Quad said, that ain't in my contract. It's nowhere in my contract that if I don't make friends with these ladies, I don't get a check. Quad said, that ain't in my contract. All I got to do is show up every single time. I ain't got to be nobody's friend, and I get paid. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Quad is going to do just enough to stay on the show and get a check. She could care less if she's friends with any of these ladies. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Tell me what you think about this episode down in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye.